of Madison, Ohio. Part 3. I walked out of the diner with his words rattling in my head. Get out of here before it's too late. But I was too far gone, too deep into Madison's mysteries. And now I needed answers more than I needed safety. The street was empty, but the fog hung thick, clinging to the lampposts and curling around the edges of the abandoned hospital ahead of me like ghostly fingers. The hospital loomed large as I approached, its facade cracked and grim, windows coated in years of grime. Something about its silence was wrong. It was too complete, too absolute, like a place abandoned by sound itself. The door was locked, as expected, but years of rot had weakened it, and it took only a few firm kicks to break the bolt. Inside, the darkness swallowed me whole. My flashlight cast a weak, flickering beam that barely held the shadows at bay. The hallway stretched forward, the walls lined with peeling wallpaper, and the smell of mildew thick in the air. I could feel the oppressive weight of the place bearing down on me with every step, a sense of something watching, waiting. Ahead of me, I spotted a set of stairs leading down, partially hidden behind an old janitor's cart left to rust. This was it, the basement, the place where they found those kids all those years ago. I descended slowly, feeling the temperature drop with each step. The air was damp and suffocating, thick with a sour, chemical odor that clawed at my throat. My flashlight beam revealed rusty stains on the walls, dark streaks that trailed toward the floor as if something had been dragged. My stomach churned, but I pressed on, driven by a terrible curiosity. At the bottom of the stairs, the hallway split into directions. To the left, a row of doors, some hanging off their hinges, open into tiny, cramped rooms lined with rusted gurneys and overturned tables. To the right, a metal door stood ajar, its frame warped as though something had tried to pry it open from the inside. I chose the right. The room beyond was large, more like a lab than a storage room, filled with cabinets of broken glassware and piles of discarded surgical equipment. In the center was an operating table, its leather straps frayed but still attached, the table's metal surface dented and scratched. I moved closer, shining my light across the surface, when I noticed a faint, almost invisible symbol scratched into the metal, a cross with a circle around it, and for small dots in each quadrant. Something thumped behind me, and I spun round, my light catching the glint of movement at the far end of the room. "Hello," I called, my voice sounding far too loud in the stillness. The air around me felt electric, charged, as if whatever was down here wasn't just watching, but listening. I took a cautious step forward, my eyes straining to make out anything in the darkness. Another sound soft, like the scurrying of feet. I shined my flashlight into the corner, illuminating an overturned cabinet. The light reflected back at me, bouncing off something metallic. Then it blinked. I gasped, stumbling back as two eyes stared back at me, hollow and dark, filled with a vacant, unsettling hunger. The figure crouched low, limbs impossibly long and thin, its skin stretched tight over bony joints. It didn't move, didn't flinch. It only stared, as though trying to assess what I was. My mind screamed at me to run, but my feet wouldn't obey. I could barely breathe, frozen under that unnatural gaze. I felt as though I was being sized up, dissected, like an animal under the scalpel of a surgeon. The creature tilted its head, and then it moved, a slow, jerky step toward me, the sound of its bones popping and cracking with each movement. Its mouth opened slightly, sharp, needle-like teeth, and it let out a low, guttural hiss. Something primal took over, and I turned and ran, my footsteps echoing wildly in the empty halls. The creature's hissing followed me, growing louder, faster, its footsteps a relentless rhythm against the floor. I darted down a side corridor, praying it would lead me back to the stairs. Up ahead, a narrow shaft of moonlight cut through a window, illuminating the path. But just as I neared the stairs, a cold hand closed around my ankle, yanking me to the ground. I hit the concrete hard, my flashlight skittering across the floor and plunging everything into darkness. I thrashed, kicking at the hand with everything I had, and felt my heel connect with something soft and yielding. The grip released, and I scrambled forward, grabbing my flashlight and shining it back just in time to see a dark, lanky shadow retreat into the blackness. The hissing stopped, but I didn't wait to find out if it would return. I stumbled up the stairs, bursting through the main doors and out into the night, the fog pressing around me like a suffocating blanket. My heart raced as I put as much distance between myself and that hospital as possible. Once I reached the safety of my car, I leaned against the door, catching my breath, but the feeling of dread didn't leave me. The hospital, the tunnels, the symbols, it was all connected. I was sure of it, and whatever I had seen down, there wasn't human, or at least, not anymore.